Hello, and welcome. It is, of course, Solo Tabletop RPG Day, which we will begin very shortly. So, well, without further ado, let's begin. As always, I am your host, Casimir Basilius, Imperial Lord, etc., etc. Same intro as always, except for this bit, of course. So, last time we left off, our mercenary betrayed their contract and, well, is working with a race car driver they were supposed to intimidate into throwing a race. We just got out of some combat with some gangsters who, while numerous, were underprepared for somebody in heavy combat armor. So that is where we pick up. There aren't really any announcements this, there aren't really any announcements other than, well, we'll try and do this more often, more tabletop RPG days, because I do quite enjoy it. And we'll try and get the news out, hopefully, eventually, and our lore videos and all the other projects. It's just we've been having so little time. Anyway, so let's actually get to progressing the dice, hopefully. Well, we are going to take it slow, as I mentioned before. No need to rush or anything. So I suppose the very first thing we should do is check our character sheet. I do quite find it not really important, sort of important. It's good to start by checking our stats and all that every time, just so I make sure I remember. I work on quite a bit of tabletop stuff, so it does get a little, not really confusing, but it can be troublesome not remembering what's specific to each individual thing. I should have gone to the sidebar here instead of scrolling all the way to the bottom and not finding it. Unfortunate. Here we are. Let's zoom in a little bit. Here we are, level 6, 45 experience, on our way to level 7. But what we're here for is just to check our stats. We were not injured in the battle. Is our armor? Our armor's not damaged. No, that's on medium. Our heavy's not damaged either. We spent some shotgun shells. But we are fine. Very good. Okay. Now that I'm slightly more acquainted with our sheet, let us quickly pop on over to what exactly? There was something. I just lost my train of thought. The bot sheet. That's what I wanted to pop on over to. I closed it, was like, I better open the bot sheet, and then realized that the bot sheet's on this file. Okay, thanks. Got it. Automatic thing telling me stuff. Here we are. Nope. It's supposed to be here, and then just scroll down. So, the bot runs this. That's how we do solo. The bot will determine things we interpret, get our results, and interact with the world. Still working on improving the NPC system, which is hard because, well, slight tangent. The plot system works. The plots are specific enough that they it's not like you can interpret them wildly. You can to a degree, but it's the right amount. Same with random events and rolled things and everything, pretty much, except for two things I really am trying to get working. One of those is there are several NPC frameworks that work, but not perfectly. They leave it a little too open to interpretation. Honestly, the thing about that's the problem for me. Well, no, that's fine. I just prefer what I want, basically. There are two sections. NPC actions and how they act need slight improvement. B, I mean, of course, I can control the NPCs, but that's not the point of a solo tabletop RPG. You know, when I'm GMing, it's easy. We have all the rules and everything, and figuring out what an NPC does is we look at some charts and figure out what the NPC would do, but there is still GM control of it. So handing that over to a bot is relatively difficult because it needs to know how they would act and all that. So several things need to be set for that. Also, NPC dialogue needs to be edited. Edited as in written in, a way for randomly generated but sense-making dialogue. You know, like if I were to say, Juliana Aldis looks at the screen, what is playing? We could randomly roll, and it would give us something that could be interpreted as easily. Like it's a good way to interpret, but it could be interpreted as like news about an event. I'm not rolling it right now, but like, you know, news about an event. And then from there, I mean, we could go into emotions. That might work. There's an NPC chart for emotions. Basically being like, well, let me find it. But basically, generating dialogue is much more difficult. It needs to be open to interpretation, but it also needs to be a little bit more frameworked than open to pure interpretation. For instance, when I'm talking about the emotion generator, for instance, it could be like, so there's something on the news about an event. One of the individuals is confident. The emotion rolled is confident. So they are confident that this will be solved soon. You know, like we can get dialogue secondhand like that, you know? The generator can easily give us secondhand dialogue. It could tell us what the subject is. Like, don't get me wrong, it could be like the subject is the economic outlook of Omnicorp. Now, Then we roll confident. This individual is confident about the economic outlook of Omnicorp. We've generated that. That's something that can be generated using the generator. But what exactly is he saying? We can only do secondhand vague in a very good way, like I explained. But firsthand, like he is saying that the Omnicorp thing are doing this, and he says this, this, and this. We can't get to that detail yet. It's not like that detail's needed. You could just interpret it, but I kind of want it to be able to do that, you know? And that's one of the things I want to work on. Generally, a lot of the random generator and AI core stuff, the AI core works. There's just generator charts for it that need work, and other random generators that need work in Galactic Requiem. Anyway, I'm so sorry for the world building tangent. Well, the more game mechanics, but we do sometimes cover game mechanics on World Building Wednesday. Anyway, sorry about that. Let's get back to the actual game. Okay. So, let's start by checking this. Well, first let's minimize that. So, the gangsters are retreating, given the fact that 3 of them are bleeding to death, and 1's dead. Also, one of the workers is injured. But basically, do we want to stick around or flee? Now, problem is, if you recall, you might not, so I'll explain. We are in an enemy nation, undercover, as mercenaries, but we're working for the enemy nation, a nation that is at war with this nation, behind their lines, trying to secure a politician, an enemy politician, and bring them back to our place. So stealth is important. And, well, being at the site of a gunfight with several corpses and or soon-to-be corpses, probably not the best idea. On the other hand, we said we protect the racer. I mean, at this point, the race might be canceled. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? So, do we stay or do we leave? That's the question I need to figure out. It's not something we ask the bot, it's up to us. Now, the bot might say, you're forced to leave or you're forced to stay or whatever. But, you know, we control Yulana Aldous. So we'll figure out what she's going to do. Just having some water there. Let's see. I kind of think we should leave. Mostly because, I mean, the gangsters are leaving. It's not like the person who's sent them to intimidate our driver is going to send more people. If the race isn't cancelled, there's nothing we can really do. I don't intend to sabotage the rival or something like that. Any more than the fact that one of their engineers was shot. But, you know, wasn't by me, so not really much we can do here, is there? Other than, like, watch the race and make sure nothing else happens, if the race is even still on. But getting stopped by the cops? That would put all the rest of our mission theoretically at risk. So I think we will depart. Yulana Aldous will approach the driver, taking cover behind the car and all that. She will tell him that Well, they won't be bothering you any longer, more than likely, for now. So if the race is still on, win it. If not, well, I suppose I'm rooting for you at the next one. And basically, she'll converse with the driver quickly, not taking too long, stating that she's got to go. I mean, motioning towards the corpses, and that she'll be back, maybe, possibly, before quite rapidly departing the location. And the other gangsters will have fled at that point, not wanting to get in a gunfight with somebody 10 times more armed than them. But basically heading back to the parking bay, getting on her bike, and departing. I suppose, are we stopped? This is an important question we should ask, I suppose. Uh, Dice roller. No chaos this time. Yes, chaos this time. No chaos though. Are we stopped? There's going to be +2 towards yes. No, response time. -2. 5, 6, 7. Even with no -2, it's a no. So we're not stopped in the time it takes us to very quickly talk to the person and rush over to there. Security's probably not too keen on heading over there immediately. So we more than likely make it out of there. More than likely, I mean, we do. We make it out of there. Let's go to our city map. Did we make this entire racetrack just to spend all of our time in this area? Yes, yes, we did. Okay. City map. Underground overview or base? We'll try base. Yep. This is the zoomed out map. So we will make our way back into the underground section. Because that's, well, the place that the government would have the hardest time getting to. And we'll head back to the gang hideout. That would be overview? Nope, that's the other map. This one? Yep, there we are. Okay, let's check our people. If any of them, no, they're not injured, good. If they were injured, we'd heal them because it's been a day, so we'd do a day's worth of healing. Okay, back at our little base, sort of. I suppose that's something we should do. Now I know it's not like direct dice rolling gameplay, but let's quickly bring up the gang sheet. Here we are. So to find the gang sheet, I know it's down here somewhere. This is it. But you know what? Let's fix this. At the top, we'll note local allied gang. That makes our lives so much easier. We have their stats. Very good. I suppose there's one other thing we should sort of sort out. If we are sort of, do we count as part of their organization, even in an honorary way? Like, because they're supposed to help us. So basically, I'm asking, do we count as having rank? If not, how much requisition do we count as having? Which is an important question, I suppose. Perhaps we don't even count as having rank or requisition, in which case we just use standard contact rules. In which case, we need to figure out what tier of contact they are. Yeah, we probably only have contact tier with them, not organization, actual, like, tie-in. So, let's quickly pop open our core rulebook. Actually, not even the core rulebook. The guidebook to space. Well, living in space more so. Contacts. Here we are. I wonder. Oh, that's. Yeah, no. I was confusing two separate things. I was confusing an ability we don't have with contacts. So it is likely, if we are at the lowest, not the lowest possible, of course, but if we were at the lowest standard contact rating with these people, we would have resources 5, meaning we'd have 10,000 credits, not of money or value, but like assistance value from them. You can request that as money from them, like technically, but they get mad if you do. But lowest rating is like 5. What is it? Grade 1, disposition, intrigued, resource 5. So acquaintance, intrigued, and resource 5. I suppose we should actually note that down so we can track it. Yeah, well. I must admit, I went for a hello. How goes it? I went for a little walk around the garden right before this. Um, so I did not spend as much time setting up as I should have. Go over to the player book. Find the section for contact. There we are. Copy that. Go over here. Reformat. Paste that. Cut it from there. Unfortunately, the the little section we have is formatting between documents causes errors. There we go. Go over to our character sheet. Indeed good. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Where's our contact section? It should be under... There we are. It's under extra info. So I probably should have done this before. Our contact is going to be local ally gang. Basically, they're our contact because technically the organization we work for has ties to them, and they're basically saying, help our people with your mission. So technically, they should have a rating with our people. Now we can track that far easier without getting as confused. So, is there anything specifically we want from them? No. We got the shotgun from them. And ammo. Well, we could probably get another mag. Admittedly, the upside and downside with working with the gang is that they charge us a little bit extra. I think it might actually be less than we would if we were just buying pure black market. But it is more than like if you have a license and are buying store-based prices. I'd have to double check that. I'm not sure if it's worth checking. But basically, items, of course, in Galactic Requiem have, well, it's a world, like buying military grade equipment, you need a license and a supplier. But we're buying from a gang who are buying from the black market. And if you're just buying directly from the black market, like I said, increased prices. So I don't actually know if we're getting a better deal or a worse deal than black market with these people. But I mean, it's better than going out there ourselves and, you know, if we're getting a better deal, that's great. If not, still better than going out there and trying to find it ourselves. So, one magazine. Assuming I can find it. Yep, here we are. We're not even buying the mag, we're just buying the ammo, honestly. So that is going to be $10. Well, to figure this out, well, let's open the item book. I'm pretty sure it's 1 galactic standard credit a shell, but, if I would go and check the pricing for my players, of course I'm going to go and check the pricing for me. Here we are. Basic shotgun shell, 1 credit per shell, standard. 10 credits for a 10 shell pack, so they do come in 10 shell packs. However, increase in price for doing this through the gang. You've got to be kidding me. 15 credits. Really? Maybe. I mean, I'd have to double check how much they're charging, but I mean, we'll pay 15 credits for it. No, I'm genuinely... Okay, sorry for the sidetrack. Now I do really want to know how much it would cost black market. I think it might be more black market. Or equal. Let's go to the book. Equipment. No. Technically. I mean, it does depend on world, but the world we're on, we could get Shotgun shells, no license, no black market. And it would cost, I mean, I'm still not going to, for the simple purpose that we just used a shotgun in attacking several people. So would probably not be the best to go and use it. Well, go and buy a magazine of it, you know? So, yeah, we'll spend the 15 credits. It's no big deal. And we're not buying a box. Well, we're buying a box of ammo, but not a box magazine, so we'll note that we have 10, and then we'll annoyingly go over to here. Note that we have one loose shell. Actually, 1 second. I forget whether that is a rule. I'm pretty sure it is. Does it work for rifles and box magazines is the question. The rule I'm referring to is, I know somewhere in one book that we do use, it specifically says that you can load an extra round in your gun. Pretty sure you can with box mags. Well, it's not really too important to find, I suppose. Let's see. Hmm. I would find that under this book. There we are. Just had to find the right book. Yep. It can put an additional cartridge. So we, instead of having one loose shell, we'll just slap that in the gun. 11 out of 10. And there. So is there... What do we do from here? I suppose we wait to see if the... well, those are questions we have to ask the bot. So let's ask the bot the questions. Question 1. Assuming I can find the dice roller before I ask. There we are. Question 1. Is the race still on? We'll add a -4. -4 seems like a little. -6. Is the race still going on? No chaos, only -6 mod. 6 and 6 is 12. -6 is 6. So the answer is no. The race is off. At least they've rescheduled it. So That's, I mean, slightly bad news. Not really bad news, but it does mean one thing for us. We get our bet back. So let's open back up our sheet. There we are. We'll move that 5,000 we put there back into our inventory. We might rebet on the race when it happens again. Ooh, what space day is it? $37. Have to do a little bit of math. Ooh. As we're 2 over, and I'm pretty sure we didn't do it, we gain money. Where is that number? 1,600 credits. Okay. I suppose I'll make a note here. 2 out of 7 days to pay. And I'll note that it counts upward, just because I don't want to forget. So, in 4 days, we get another 1,600 Galactic Standard credits. Spending cash is a great boon. It is what we invested our starting wealth in. Now, the problem is, if I remember my math, spending cash takes let's quickly do the math. I'm curious now. I know it might shift per level because of the amount you have to spend, but we're at level 4 in spending cash, so we spent really? No, I hit times, not plus. A million. Basically, we have 1,000,000 Galactic Standard credits invested in spending cash. If you're wondering why we didn't just take that for ourselves, because of the way character generation works, it's not like we could take it, we could have invested it towards a starship, per se, or gotten a tenth that amount. So we could have gotten like 100,000 or something like that. But not the full million. But if we invest it at start, we get the full amount. But like as in investment in a thing, be it land, spending cash, or possessions. So that's 1,000,000 divided by 1,600. So it would take us 625 weeks to go positive. 625 weeks is about, let's see, 11 years. So not quickly. But one other bit of math I do want to know. To upgrade to the next level, we would need 500,000 credits. Divided by 1,600. It would take us 312.5 weeks to be able to get the next tier of spending cash. So about half of 11 years. Not ideal. We can always, like, theoretically shift our investment around and shit. But, like, meh. Free cash every in-game week, you know? I mean, what else would we put it in? Having the currency? We already don't know what to spend our 80,000 Galactic Standard credits in. Well, we know we need more, but... Let's see. So, returning back to our little base, knowing that the race is cancelled due to our little scene that we cause, we will greet our allies. Basically ask them if there's any news on our mission. I mean, it's been a day, 2 days. We'll ask them if there's any news. And their response is going to be, opening the dice folder, of course. 7 and 8. 15. Which drops to 11 because -4. Which is still a yes, there is news. Now we get to get into the complexities of determining what news was given to us by our allied government, which is, as mentioned earlier when about NPC dialogue, relatively difficult. Not really, we'll use a interpretation, heavy interpretation. But we will have to go to the AI core book. Plot lines, no. Looking for the random word generator. You will. I say word generator, it's not really the word generator, it's descriptions. The news we acquire, as per usual, as we're rolling in a different book, as opposed to swapping back and forth. I'll use my physical dice. 34. 34 is ferociously 43 for our second word. Harsh. Ferociously harsh. So the government has given us a report on our objective, and they are being, or the report is ferociously harsh. Whatever that means. This is where the interpretation comes in. It is safe to assume that our mission is, it's not compromised, but the government's not happy that the enemy government does know about what's going on. Basically, as way back, it's been a long while since we covered it, but basically, we know that the information was leaked. And or the other government was, the enemy government was on top of the information because of way back when we went to make the deal with the gang and everybody was dead when we arrived. And the whole, it seemed like a elite strike team was there before us that took the target that we then went, killed, and then took the target back from. So the government reads this report. They're not happy. They're not, it's not like they're upset with us. They're upset with the situation, really. I mean, like, yeah, Juliana, all this has been off doing other stuff, but we can't really say that that other stuff has affected the mission, at least not in any way that the government would know about yet. So they're not harsh against our unit, but they are harsh against the situation. Like, they take it out on our unit, but not like, you guys did this wrong and why are you out there doing non-specific missions. More so, They were there before you. You need to do better. Get the target back to us. We know we said hold until we can get through, but you need to hold better. The fact that they're on to you is not ideal, and, whole stuff like that. Basically, our forces need to do better somehow at laying low, I guess. Look, we're working for the space government. Like, you know them. I mean, if you don't know the space government, just think of any normal government, okay? And then consider annoyed politicians, Consider politicians looking at a mission operation sheet. They're not going to be happy. Doesn't matter if it went well. It didn't go ideally, so they're not going to be happy and they're going to complain no matter what. Even if you can't have done anything better, they're not going to like it. They'll find something about it to complain about. So that's what they'll do. Same kind of thing. Although, admittedly, Juliana Aldous doing side gigs has not helped. Luckily, they wouldn't, like I said, they wouldn't have heard about that yet. They wouldn't have heard about the racetrack or the other gang encounter or the corporate encounter. However, what's most likely to leave words are hard. What's most likely to reach them, if we're honest, is the corporate encounter. It's not like it will necessarily reach them. We are in an enemy nation. But if any of the things that happened are likely to be heard by them and assumed involvement in, it's going to be the corporate one because they would have proper reports. Actually, surprisingly, the racetrack, despite being more public, will probably have less tying back to Juliana Aldous, strangely enough. Even though it was more public, but that's specifically because it's not like they'd have that information. Like, it's not like the enemy government's going to share their investigation. They'd have to watch it on the news. Our allied government would have to watch it on the news. And, it's not like Juliana Aldous is there on the news, so less likely to be tied to. While the corporation, if they get access to the corporate report, they'll basically see there was a caster. Caster did casting stuff. And, corporate levels of detail and easier to tie to you than all this. All this is assuming that her contact doesn't rat her out. But, I mean, they're a good contact. And I doubt they'll rat her out. So, that's where we lay. They're not happy. So I'm trying to open the right tab here. So, that's basically what we get from a report from them. But to maintain holding of the target until a time in which retrieval is acceptable, or a time in which we believe we could retrieve the target, which I actually want to check. Is it possible for us to get the target out of there? For that, I need to find the world map. It's either this one or the one below it. It's the one below it. There we are. What scale is this? Subhex is 10 kilometers. It's possible. I mean, we don't want to go over the open land. We could go 40 kilometers to the rough terrain of the forest, then another 10 kilometers, so 50 kilometers, 10 kilometers through rough forest, but 50 kilometers into marshland. Could just drive straight down, head to this city. Our allies have pushed up to there, but that means that is a war zone. Pushes a forest, but that's also a war zone. Cross the river, but we'd have to cross that town, and there's technically more war zone over here. It's really not worth it. Like, specifically, getting the target out ourselves is going to involve going through enemy lines out of the war zone, which just doesn't feel like a good idea. Like, could go swamp along the river, risky, because passing through there, passing through there, it's just no easy way. I suppose holding onto the target is what we'll have to do. Oh, wrong map again. This is the right one. There we are. So yeah, the plan is likely going to be to continue our little side contracts, which is sort of what we wanted. I mean, as long as, I mean, I'd like to do side contracts with our mercenary allies, but I can't really ask them to do that. But, I mean, even if we did, we'd have to leave one merc behind at all times. It's not like we'd have to, but let's be honest. We're not leaving the one person we're supposed to retrieve with the gang, especially when another gang, a much larger gang, was basically wiped out by a strike team. I mean, we could just skip time. That's technically an option. We could say we stay in the gang place just laying low, and we could skip time. But that's, I mean, I would say that's not fun. That is fun because it would just take a statement, a couple of rolls, then we can move on to the next stuff. But also, kind of want to explore the city, you know? Even if it is not ideal, given the fact we're supposed to lay low. Another thing I really kind of want to do, not really stat-wise, but like something to do, is work with the gang, the ally gang, because kind of want to show off organizations. And how better to show off organizations than to use them? Let me check a thing. Heading 2, okay. We're going to make it easier to find the gang chart by giving it a heading. Copy, paste. There we are. I suppose I should open it so it's visible. Just doing it in a different file. Nope. There we are. So, they have 100 gang members. 24 skill. Not bad. Now, for a character, it's not ideal, but the way organizations work, I'm sure we've been over before. It's just a modifier, so it's not bad. Is there anything specific, organization-wise, we need to add to them? Not really. They're a very small organization, though. Let me quickly bring up our organization and nation rules. I know that their stats are very high for what they should be, but we even lowered them some before, but it's fine if their stats are a bit high. They are being funded by a nation. It's crazy what you can do when you're funded by a nation. Just we can find. There we go. Yep, they are exceptionally well funded. Okay. I suppose let's actually try. I know some things we need to do. Some things I sort of want to do. A, improve our relation with the gang. Sort of. That's something I want to do, but it's less important. I also want to improve our basically standing with our local, not local, with our mercenary handler, because that would give us more access to a lot of things. We also need to train our skills and our feats. We need to be a better caster, which we are training. We need to also get better at hacking. And lastly, well, a lot of things, honestly. We kind of need to improve our social skills. Impress is 0, so it doesn't help that we have -8 charisma, but you know. We'll do what we can. We also need networking skill. How much does it cost to buy all this stuff? I ask as if it's a question. I mean, I say that because, you know, as the one who sort of writes the rules for the system, one would think I would know the answer to these things. But, I mean, I can't remember the entire rule book, you know? Especially not the cost of specific things. I suppose the real question I should be asking is, what book did I put that under? It's probably under the Law and Society guidebook. Even though it should be under the item guidebook or the cybernetic guidebook. No, because training. I suppose that's why, because training would be under the things to buy in a. Yeah, makes sense to a degree. So we could get a +2 for 50,000. This needs clarification in the rulebook, specifically whether it's a bonus or a rank. I believe it counts as a rank. No, it does, it does. Unmodified, you may train a total number of additional trained skill ranks, so they do count as ranks. Generally, the majority of these feats and skills, depending on economics and location, run 50 to 100,000 credits base. Training/learning skills and feats requires the powerful materials to learn, depending on the skill/feat. Equipment, books, and instructor, etc. Takes 28 to 56 days, depending on complexity. Buying the actual training costs a half to 3/4 the list price. It's as low as 1/4. Swap chips cost as low as half price, but require a slotting device, which also requires surgery. But is good because you can just pop in and out chips. Do we not have the other type listed here? Unfortunate. So a course to get a +2, if you want to spend a long while, well, how much does it cut it down? Let me check. Another thing, my apologies, a lot of checking books. If it ever loads. Go to the index. Or not. It could just decide not to load. That's always great. Sometimes the online program we use decides to be slow in loading files. There we are. I believe that would be under advanced skill. Yep, trainer and elite trainer. So that will take halftime for half price. Well, I say half time. It takes half the time to train at the price of 25,000 as opposed to 50,000 to get it instantly. When I say half time, I do mean like 14 to 28 days. So yeah, 14 to 28 days, 25,000. Hmm. Do we want to actually spend that much increasing our skills? Let's see, 25, 50, 75? We could. We could get a bunch of bonuses to our skills, which might actually be worth it. Like having more skill. I mean, we wouldn't be able to get one skill to +6 because the price gets exponentially higher. We could get 3 skills with +2s. Which might be worth it to do. That I'm really not too sure about, though. I feel like some of the pricing on that needs work. Because, yeah, I feel some of the pricing on that needs work. I mean, it should be. The base costs are perfect the way they are. 50,000 for a +2 or a feat, up to 100,000 for a +2 or feat, is perfect. Because it's an instant brain download. The corporations are going to charge you that much easily for something like that. Problem is, training should probably be cheaper. Skill chips should probably be cheaper, depending on the variety. Actually, skill chips, swap chips being half price seems about right. Yeah, swap chips being half price seems about right. Burnout chips should be cheaper, and training should be even cheaper. Well, let's see. Let's actually do the math on that. My apologies. I know this is supposed to be the dice rolling, but like when I get rules work in my mind, it let's assume you're spending 20 credits an hour, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. No, because it's full days. It's not, it's full days. 8 times 28. It's not like you're working 8 hours, that counts as full days. Okay. Next calculation. We increase the price. Okay. Once more. Mm-hmm. And lastly, Okay, so the prices are a bit high, not exceptionally so, but if you consider the fact that the higher tier you are, the more of an expert the person who has to train you needs to be. The prices rising significantly is makes sense, but they are high for that. Well, it's specifically classified as half price, but still. I just think they maybe probably should be cheaper. Well, we'll use that information when we work on that section with some modifications at some other time. Let's see. So, our next step is going to be to take contracts. Well, let's see whether our contact has anything very specific they need done. I mean, we are almost out of time for the day, as very soon I'm going to go and get a coffee. But we should prepare for next time. So, assuming we're going to take a contract for our Merc networker or the allied local gang, which one do we want to improve relation with? Hmm. Our contract networker. It's because we theoretically will work with them much more commonly. Okay, so next time we'll generate on maybe on World Building Wednesday, we'll generate another few missions for them. Wait, what missions did we not take? I know there was one mission we didn't take. Yes. Find an item at the border. Complication is there's a red herring. Opposition is a doctor. It's only been 2 days, so the mission probably still exists. It's actually been more than 2 days because of the other mission, but hmm. So yeah, that one's basically probably going to be lost. So what we will do, we'll see whoever has contracts. We'll see how we can help. We'll wander the city. In fact, that's what we'll do today. Before we go, because we have some time, you learn all this having completed, well, not really completed anything, but gone about her business, leaving the racetrack after this morning. There's an entire day. Sure, it took a while to get back, but not exceptionally long. So I suppose what she'll do is she'll go for a walk. I mean, yeah, it is gang controlled territory, but we saw how well they did. So she will go for a walk, heading out into the underground tunnels of this section of the city. In fact, she'll go for a long walk. How far is that? One, two. We'll count that as three. I didn't put the grid on this map. That's brilliant. Well, I know that this is 5 kilometers, so we'll just do it that way. 8 kilometers there and back. Well, 8 kilometers there, 8 kilometers back. 16 kilometers? Yeah, yeah. It'll be a long walk. Juliana Aldous will walk to the zoo. It's not a real zoo. I mean, it was at one point in time before the gang took over, before it got run down, and then the gang took over, and then the corporate strike force killed the gang there. Well, government strike force mostly than corporate strike force. But, before the incident. So we'll walk there. It's risky business, I suppose, but why not? So we're heading out into the tunnels of the... We can't walk there. Unfortunate. I mean, we could, but we'd be walking down a really long tunnel. Yeah. We'll just walk around the local city. No need to go all the way out there. Besides, we know more about the local city. We can also gather some information. So, heading out into the tunnels, even though all this will go without her bike. She will head south. She'll walk to the rundown community center. Why not? It's less than a kilometer away. She'll pass by the shopping district to get there. Yeah, she'll head towards the rundown community center. There'll be a quick walk to her south through the relatively okay lit, if not slightly graffitied tunnels and of the lower area of the city, before getting rather quickly to the train tracks where she will cross when it is acceptable to do so. The light shaking in the distance of the trains moving constantly. Several people milling about outside of the local shops just south of them. It's not really the train does stop nearby. The station's right over there. So she'll cross the street, cross the tracks, and enter the shopping area. There are several people going about their business. We do know what the several stores are here from last time we were here. It's not the best district. The locals are distrustful of non-locals. The locals live under the local gangs. Illegal goods and services can be found here, mostly from the people hanging out. And but the stores are, however, mostly normal. The shopping area has several floors up and down, as well in the lower area, underground technically. We know that there is a travel booking place, a department store, a convenience store, a clothing store, and a mechanics store. There are likely more stores, as there are more than 5 buildings here. Yulia Aldous will make her way to a restaurant. It is morning, well, it's a bit after morning now, but she'll head to a restaurant and see what they have. And for fun, we'll use a random chart. Let's see. Assuming I can quickly find the random chart. Have to search all tabs. Here we are. What are they selling at this restaurant? Here we go. Some of the stuff they have appear to be crackers, probably sitting on the table instead of bread. And this isn't a high-class establishment, so it's probably little packaged crackers. What do they got for meals? Cross-referencing. Here we go. Looking for the chart. I appear to have lost it. Nope, here we are. Nope. Okay. Poultry. Oh, that one landed poorly. And small game. I suppose she will go for. And she'll have some of the crackers, I suppose, and probably just pick one of the small game, I suppose. Why not? Pick one at random, basically. And that will be how much are we spending? We are spending. This is why we have it. Nifty. Chart for pricing. Given that this is a restaurant, the prices are bumped up by a tier. So this throws a below common meal up to a common meal. So for the equivalent of what passes for essentially a frozen meal in quality, we're paying for a hearty frozen meal in quality. So that's going to be 15 credits. That's actually ideal. I didn't know that beforehand, honestly. But that does mean that we are at, we get to actually set it to 0. Honestly, I didn't plan that. I just used the charts as they're meant to be used. But it does bring us to a nice round number, so that's nice. So yeah, we'll get food and a drink. It'll be nice. Well, not really. Sitting in the outside section of a dimly lit underground area of the city, a few neon lights shining from the variety of shops nearby, a large, sort of cluttered tower to our, you can't really see the rest of the tower, we're underground, but like to our right and to our north, as we sit outside. Why? I say outside, outside of the building, which is underground. It's, you know. And basically sitting in the darkness, having some. It's not like super dark, of course. There's lighting, of course. This space society. It's just not as lit as outdoors. Having a rather poor meal that's not the best. But I mean, she'll put some salt on it. It's fine. Not really much to see other than graffitied walls, several people milling about, staring. I mean, Yulana Aldous is in heavy combat armor, but, you know, they would stare at anybody that they don't know, so. But Yulana Aldous doesn't pay too much mind to them as she finishes her meal, pays her 15 credits to the people, and stands up before heading further out. Basically, the shop person, when she's buying food, doesn't ask much. They don't really want to talk to some person not from around here. They deal enough with the local gangs than trying to talk to somebody in heavy combat armor with guns everywhere. Having had that meal, she'll actually go through the building into here, make her way through the larger courtyard, several ramshackle shops. Still lots of people going about their business, people playing games with cards, dice, all sorts of things, talking to each other, just living out there. Several people staring off into the distance, accessing their neural data pads, doing who knows what on the internet, before she will arrive at the community center, which I suppose we'll do next time. So, thank you all for stopping by. Hopefully, we'll do this more often and things will pick up. We'll occasionally have our gunfights, but hopefully they'll get more common. Well, I mean, I do quite enjoy some of the lesser stuff. But thank you all for stopping by. Tomorrow, I might send my conscript to armor, a big armor event. So, yes, you can probably find that being streamed over by Merlin Bishop. And we'll we'll try and get news on Tuesday. And Wednesday we'll do Wobbling Wednesday. And then of course this will be done on this day. Friday we'll do our solo Sunday. And we'll try and do this more often though, so we'll try and find a few more days for this. As always, I've been your host, Casimir Basilius, Imperial Lord, etc., etc. But what's important is I hope that you have a wonderful day. But I also realized that before we should go, I should roll experience, which is going to be a flat 10. Reason being is we did no events really, so flat 10. Okay. Like I said, thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful day.